Welcome back. Now, a new Irish survey to mark World Alzheimer's Day has revealed that less than 3% of health professionals here think that there are adequate community services for people living with dementia, while 2 out of 3 people think it's just a normal part of ageing.
So Dr. Bernadette Rock of the Irish Alzheimer's Society of Ireland is here to discuss the findings, along with Jacinta Dixon, who lives with Alzheimer's and is part of the Irish Dementia Working Group. Good morning to you both.
Morning, ladies.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Doctor, we'll get to you in a moment, but maybe, sure, Jacinta, you'll give us your story, because you're very bravely joining us on the couch this morning to have a chat, and thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
Take us back to when your symptoms started and what you noticed.
OK, probably about 3-4 years ago. I'm not quite sure exactly. I just knew there was something wrong.
OK. Wasn't
quite sure what it was. The word Alzheimer's did come into my head, but I didn't. You know, everybody thinks they have Alzheimer's as we age.
Yes.
So eventually I thought, OK, you know, something's not good. I was actually. I was working, but my employer then decided I wasn't doing my job properly and asked me to leave. And that was, I'd been working with them for about 12, 13 years.
That's very
14,
difficult.
Actually, even more than that, quite a lot. And that was quite difficult.
Yes, of course.
And so I left anyway, and then things started to get sort of worse. Things were just not right. Couldn't put a finger on it, really, but things weren't right. So spoke to my daughter, and she arranged, at that time I was living over around Beaumont Hospital area. The team there took over, did all sorts of tests. They were unbelievable. I really have to stress, they were the most incredible team of people that I've ever come with in hospitals and things. They were absolutely fantastic. They took a long time to make the diagnosis. They weren't going to do anything very quickly. They took a long time to make the diagnosis, and that was it, really. After that, they spent probably about 6 to 8 months with me, helping me to find ways of coping. And this was all on the National Health.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable. And that's really where it was. Probably about 9 months, a year after that, I got involved with the Alzheimer's Society. So I suppose I'm lucky enough because I don't take no for an answer. So in other words, I wasn't going to just sit down and say, I've got Alzheimer's, I'm going to sit in a chair.
Yes.
You
But
know?
is there a sense of relief, Jacinta?
I'm sorry?
Is there a sense of relief when they tell you you have Alzheimer's? Because I always think the worst part is not knowing what's wrong.
Do you know, there was something there that said to me, I had it even before.
Your gut.
I think even though those little ideas were in my head, and I was saying, well, no, yes, no, yes, no. But once it happened, I suppose it was a sense of relief, because actually now I know what it is. So therefore I can work with what I know now. Yeah.
And try and put a plan together.
Well, it's to do that. It's to find a way to deal with this problem that I now have.
And Bernadette, if we might come to you, the survey that we spoke about, what did you take from the survey in terms of being the most alarming thing?
Yes, well, quite a number of things, in fact. And first of all, just to say that it's such an important survey, because it comes, you know, today is World Alzheimer's Day, and it's quite significant in that it gives us a truly unique insight into the global scale of dementia. The survey was carried out across 155 countries involving 70,000 people. And I suppose for us, one of the worrying things we see is that stigma around dementia is still quite prevalent. So that's that sense of shame or embarrassment or the secrecy or the not talking about it. And that stigma is quite problematic because it prevents people from coming forward to seek a diagnosis or to seek support or help or services that could greatly improve their quality of life. So that's one of the concerns. The other thing that really stands out for us is that the survey shows that only 3% of healthcare providers, including nurses, GPs, psychiatrists, and less than 7% of the general public agree that there are adequate community services. And we are well aware at the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland that there are thousands of families up and down the country who are really struggling, yes, to access even basic services. There is such a gap there, and we really need urgent funding into our dementia services in the community.
Is that the biggest call to arms in terms of, is it funding that you're looking for?
Absolutely, yes. It's quite frustrating for people with the diagnosis and their families because there are such gaps in the services around the country. And we really need to bridge those gaps. We really need to be able to meet the needs of people with dementia because it's so stressful receiving that diagnosis. And for families that are caring, you know, it can be such a source of stress. And the survey also shows that it can have such an impact on their health also. So we really need...
And as Jacinta said to us before we came on air, a family can only do so much.
Exactly.
You do need
Yes.
the network of support that the Alzheimer's Society can give you.
You do, and I think apart from that network of support, we also need support of the people in the community. Community support is very important because I think you touched on it, the fact that people don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
But I find that I get a lot of support in my community in Clondalkin. It's a very small area, and it's great. But people their answer to everything is take your time and sit down. Like and that's absolutely needed.
Yes.
But there's a lot more that's needed.
Of course.
Of course.
You know.
And what other gestures can we do, Bernadette? Or Jacinta, you can answer this as well. Like I have a family member exactly in Jacinta's shoes as well. And I often wonder, should I mention what she's going through, or do we just get on with life as normal?
Yeah.
Do you know, it's hard to know the right thing to do.
That's a very good question too, because everyone's experiences and needs are so different. You know, the same sort of measure doesn't apply, or, you know, it doesn't suit everyone. And I think it's always important to understand what it is that person wants or needs. You know, because at the Alzheimer's Society, we provide quite a lot of services. For example, Alzheimer cafes, support groups, daycare, home help or respite. And it's so important to understand that it's not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
That, you know, that the care has to be person-centred.
And every case is completely
It's
different
quite
because their
unique,
circumstances
yes.
will be different.
Exactly.
Some people who are diagnosed might have family, like yourself, some mightn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
They might need more care than others.
But you're very confident talking about it, Jacinta, aren't you?
Oh, I do.
Yes.
I talk a lot about it, and I because I feel it's really important that people should know. And there's not one size fits all here. You know, even within 2 or 3 areas where you would think it was the same Alzheimer's, it's not. People have different experiences and different needs within that. I mean, you know, I still have a little bit of a head on me, but other people might have you know, lost a specific area that I mightn't have, or whatever. And so it's not one size fits all. It just isn't.
We're all individual, aren't we? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for coming on and you know, getting the awareness out there and talking about it. I think that's the big thing, Bernadette, isn't it?
Thank you.
Talk about it.
It really is, and drawing
Yes.
more awareness and understanding to it.
Brilliant. Well,
Thank you,
Did we
ladies.
talk about the working group just briefly? Did we get marked? I'm sorry. Did we?
We did.
We have a minute. Do we talk about the working group, which is really important?
Give it a
like
quick
to say-
mention.
Just a quick,
Jacinta.
Go ahead,
quick
Jacinta.
message
Yes,
to say that
absolutely.
we've got the working group sort of moving now, and we just need more and more support to get to just to get that side of things.
Of course.
Through,
Yeah,
the working
brilliant.
group
Every
work
little helps,
dementia.
doesn't it?
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well, if you have any questions or worries about dementia or Alzheimer's, you can call the helpline at 1800 341 341 or check out alzheimer.ie.